And Dr. Do was making a very, very critical point there in scrutinizing the president's position amid all of this. But while we try to get Dr. Idowu back, we've had our second guest on this conversation joining us for his own perspectives. Let's welcome Dr. Good News Osa, lecturer, governance, peace and strategic studies, Babcock University, Elisha, Remo, Ogun State. He's also a chartered fellow, International Association of World Peace Advocates, who joins us also virtually this morning. Good morning, Dr. Osa, and welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we've had quite a lot to reflect on, particularly concerning the politics in Rivers State. I'm hoping that you have been following the conversation. We'll just pick up on the last bit, which is the president's directive that all parties should sheath their swords. I would like you to react to that and tell us from your own perspective how reassuring that is. A lot has been said about the neutrality or otherwise of that particular position. How reassuring are you that that statement is that statement to bring an end to the cycle of violence in the state?
Thank you very much. Nigerians have been waiting for that opportunity to listen to the president speak on the crisis in Rivers State. I sure do believe that with the turn of events, elections conducted, whether favorable to parties or not, the president's speech, of course, is quite instructive at this time. The outcome should be accepted, and then any other grievances should be addressed in the courts. And I think that that is the best that should be said at this time. I think that to an extent will douse the tension in Rivers State now that he has spoken.
And Dr. Osa, we've also had cause to speak on why Rivers stands out in terms of its politicking. Prior to this time, elections have been conducted and, winners have been declared. And, governance seems to go on in other states of the Federation. But here we are, more than a year down the line, there seems to be, a brick wall in terms of, the politics of that state. Why is it different?
Well, generally, elections are critical periods in Nigeria and globally. This is because they alter power structure within a state, subnational or national levels, especially where multiple actors seek to establish their claims over power. That of Rivers State is actually not different, especially with the FCT minister claiming to maintain his structure, and then the incumbent governor also wanting to maintain same structure. So there is a divergence. There is a divergence of who owns the structure. That is why. But particularly, that Rivers State is strategic to the nation's economy, and whoever is in charge of it will have a high stake even at the local and at the national level. So, of course, Rivers State has always been prominent, but not so bad, especially for local government elections.
And there seems to be a consensus about the element of Godfatherism in all of this, and how, it is typical, between successors and executives that there is a pattern of falling out somewhere down the line. But Rivers, in this case, again, seems to be an exception. At least we saw what played out in Kaduna State. The State Assembly had embarked on an investigation and, in fact, invited the former governor. But there seems to be, a certain difference in the management of that situation. Again, on this point, why, in your own view, is this different?
Right from the onset, the former and present governors had disagreed, especially as we are told over who maintains the structure. Granted, the governor is the godson of the FCT minister. He brought him in, and of course, one will expect some level of loyalty. From what we have heard, the initial executive committee members were said to have been handed over by the governor, by the former governor. They worked, and then shortly, they started resigning one by one, and then the issue of defection from the PDP to APC came up, and then elections and conflicting judgments, all of those. But whichever side, I think that the FCT minister has nothing to lose. So also the governor has nothing to lose. I think the Rivers people are the greatest losers in this matter. And the Rivers case should be handled with care. That is how I feel. Rivers case should be handled with care. The others, where you just mentioned, is not badly polarized as that of Rivers State is polarized right now, because the majority of the people are on both sides, and so caution needs to be applied eventually in the entire process.